Okay, so this is going to be a little foot mobilization routine. So to start, we're just going to start with some spacing of the toes. So to space your toes, you can start with just 2 fingers. Take your hand and kind of work it in between 2 of your toes. You might not feel a whole lot of stretching. You might feel a lot of stretching if your feet are really tight. If you don't feel a whole lot of stretching, you can try to work 3 fingers. So in this case, I'm working in between my pinky, that toe, I don't know what you call that, the ring finger toe, and then the one right next to the big toe. I'm just kind of working my fingers into there, getting some space. Again, if you're feeling a really big stretch, just hang out here. Don't have to do too much. You can start to move your foot around, but it might be too intensive a stretch for you to do that. If that's feeling pretty good, you can work your thumb in between your big toe and that other set of toes. And again, if it's a really intense stretch, just kind of sit here, let some space naturally occur. If you're feeling like pretty good, like it's not too intense of a stretch, you can get some movement of that midfoot with it, so you can kind of work into a little bit of pronation and supination of that midfoot. I'll give you a little bit of a side view. So again, pronating, supinating, mostly just targeting moving the midfoot. And again, that's only if this stretch is not crazy intense for you. If it's already really, really intense stretch, don't try to move the midfoot with it. You can also just mobilize the midfoot into pronation and supination. So kind of working down and in towards the ground, and then working up and in towards your body. And you can also do some kind of alternating patterns, so kind of just grabbing more towards the toes themselves, working side to side. You can get those opposing forces, so kind of taking your hands and pulling like that. Just getting some more space in that midfoot. You can anchor the midfoot down, work in there. Same thing, kind of work back in into supination, just kind of rotating that foot, getting some motion in there. And again, you can pair that with the toe spacing as well, but if it's a very intense stretch for you, it might be a little too much to start with right off the bat, okay? Next one we're gonna do is we're gonna mobilize the calcaneus, or the heel. So for that one, I'm gonna take my hand, I'm gonna either place it right below the malleolus or right above it. I just wanna anchor that kind of lower leg down. And then I'm going to start by kind of just gently pressing my heel into eversion. So I'm trying to drive my palm towards the ground as I keep this lower leg stable. I'm trying to get a little bit of motion in the heel. Okay, work into eversion. You can also work into inversion, kind of work it back in towards your body. In general, we have more range of motion in inversion. And not in general, we're always going to have more range of motion in inversion. So you definitely don't need to spend quite as much time in that area, but it's good to kind of work both ranges. If that's all feeling pretty good, you can start to pair some of the supination and pronation with some of that heel inversion and eversion. So you can basically work these like figure 8 patterns. So you can pull the heel up and then drive down, right? You can also kind of just work all the way up and in, so like sliding the heel into inversion as you drive down, into pronation, and then scooping back up. And then even working the reverse patterns. You can kind of alternate your hands too. Again, just getting lots and lots of motion in the midfoot, in the heel, just so things stay moving around. Okay. Or you should always start though. Spread the toes out first, just spend some time there. Get those guys to open up. Start with that pronation and supination in the midfoot. If that's all feeling good, add in the pronation and supination of the midfoot with the toe splay. Work the heel into eversion to start. Working it into inversion. That's feeling really good. You can work those figure 8 kind of patterns and just get some more motion in there.